Meanwhile, it's hard to believe it's been this many years since President Bush authorized the surge in Iraq, and he did it against the grain. He did it when the American people were saying, I'm tired of this war here. It's going on forever. How do we ever get on top of the insurgency? Well, the president, as you know, accepted a plan that might have been written mostly by our own General Jack Keane, implemented by General Petraeus, and it's just amazing as you listen to what he's about to say, how prescient he was in his prediction what would have happened had he pulled out in 2007, and maybe if he actually predicted when we pulled out in 2011. Listen to President Bush and then his chief speechwriter, Mark Thiessen.
I know some in Washington would like us to start leaving Iraq now. To begin withdrawing before our commanders tell us we're ready would be dangerous for Iraq, for the region, and for the United States. It would mean surrendering the future of Iraq to al-Qaeda. It would mean that we'd be risking mass killings on a horrific scale. It would mean we allow the terrorists to establish a safe haven in Iraq to replace the one they lost in Afghanistan. It would mean increasing the probability that American troops would have to return at some later date to confront an enemy that is even more dangerous.
Every single thing that President Bush said there in that statement is happening today. Obama did withdraw our troops before the commanders on the ground said that we were ready to do so. General Austin wanted to keep 24,000 troops in Iraq. Obama went to 0. President Bush said that if we did that, there would be mass killings on a horrific scale. What are we seeing? Mass killings on a horrific scale. Executions, women and children being buried alive, crucifixions, beheadings of American journalists. President Bush said that if we withdrew before we were ready, then there would be al-Qaeda would establish al-Qaeda in Iraq, which is now ISIS, would establish a safe haven. They now control a swath of territory the size of Belgium. All of these predictions have come true, and of course we're back there right now launching strikes.
We are. You know, I know that Barack Obama was running for president where I'm going to end the war and we're going to come home, and Americans wanted that, and we're all war weary at that point back in 2007. But the way he pulled out of Iraq essentially is the reason we are where we are today. And so it was such a visionary prediction or a cautionary warning that President Bush made there from the podium in 2007. A lot of people are probably scratching their heads going, I wish we would have listened to him.
Yeah, now we're in a situation that when you heard that last line, it gave you a chill. I mean, chills through your spine that we're be facing a much more dangerous enemy now. Yes, it's called ISIS, and here we are. And our administration can't even verbalize what ISIS really is. You know, can't even say this is war. When James Rosen went and, you know, pressed the State Department to ask Jen Psaki, remember, was this Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Will you call this war? Are we at war? Direct question, simple, okay, following beheading of American journalist, too. She couldn't even respond. So when James was speaking with Bill O'Reilly on The Factor Wednesday, Bill had this assessment, fair.
With all due respect, I mean, you don't have to comment on this, that woman looks way out of her depth over there. Just the way she delivers, it just doesn't look like she has the gravitas for that job.
Okay, so he says she doesn't have the gravitas for the job, and you look at her resume, and she essentially was a spokesperson for a bunch of politicians. Where's her, you know, her background in world affairs? She, according to what I've seen, she doesn't really have one. Nonetheless, yesterday, Deputy Spokesperson at the Department of State, Marie Harf, said that Bill O'Reilly, he's talking about her colleague. He's clearly a sexist. Listen.
I think that when the anchor of a leading cable news show uses, quite frankly, sexist, personally offensive language that I actually don't think they would ever use about a man against the person that shares this podium with me, I think I have an obligation, and I think it's important to step up and say that's not okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you could say about Bill O'Reilly, and he'd welcome them. There's a lot of people you could insult him. You might be accurate. You could compliment him. You might be accurate. But in terms of being a sexist, I don't think you're watching the show.
Right.
He's an equal opportunity complimenter and offender. Here's an example of Bill O'Reilly looking and noticing a few things about Josh Earnest.
Josh Earnest, okay. He looks to me to be befuddled. I mean, Jay Carney, you may not have liked him, but he looked like he understood the process. Mr. Earnest doesn't look like he has a lot of credibility.
So there you go.
Bill
Marie
O'Reilly
Harf.
does not like men.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't
I mean,
like-
it
Equal
clearly,
critique. That was less than 10 days ago that he said that, okay?
August 26th.
And you're also not watching the show if he thinks he's a sexist. How many women are there that he is in complete dialogue, debate with every single night? Brilliant women that he is there discussing the top issues with.
Right.
And, you know, he's been quite fair across the board. But was that comment by Marie Harf?
All right.